Welcome into this Friday morning. It's right around 10:10 here in the heart of the 618, but we're taping this at 11 a.m. on a Thursday because there's a lot of great things to talk about. Brian Miller, Make-A-Wish, joins us now. Walk for Wishes was last week. It was Make-A-Wish, Missouri and Make-A-Wish, Kansas, correct, sir, that contributed to this, the largest Walk for Wishes around.
That's right. Yeah, our local chapter is Make-A-Wish, Missouri and Kansas, and we grant wishes for kids throughout Missouri and Kansas. We have a two-state region, and we're very fortunate to have an amazing community here in St. Louis where just philanthropy and heart just go a long way. And so for the last 13 years, we've had the largest Walk for Wishes in the country, and this year was no different. Thousands got together and we rallied around Make-A-Wish, helped grant some wishes, and had a great day in Forest Park.
And take me through the recap. Was there some good results delivered? I know that you guys had a very ambitious goal of funds being generated. Were you able to get close?
Yeah, so fundraising actually goes on for quite some time. We kick off our
Cool.
fundraising efforts at the first of the year, and then we'll go until about middle of May. And so we have about 5 months of fundraising wrapped around this one event. Our goal was $940,000, and as we're sitting here today, we're at about 500,000. So we're almost there, and we've got a little bit to go. But I'm confident that the St. Louis community is going to rally around us again, and we'll get even closer.
That's really great to hear and great progress already being made, Brian. And, take me through your time at Make-A-Wish. How long have you been with the organization, and what are some of the things that you could share with us from your firsthand experience with the group that everyone really does cherish?
Yeah, so I've been fortunate to be with Make-A-Wish for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years here in December, so almost there. And in my time and in my role being with marketing and communications, I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to be able to meet with our Wish families and help tell their incredible stories. And our Wish kids are at the heart of everything that we do at Make-A-Wish. Each one of them, I mean, they're a true inspiration, right? Wish kids, they go through things that nobody should ever have to go through, let alone a child. Being diagnosed with a critical illness, it truly does rip away childhood from a kid. And, as a father, I can only just sit back and just my heart breaks, right? Knowing that these kids are going through, whether it be a cancer diagnosis, a heart transplant, just the list goes on and on. I mean, there's so many critical illnesses that affect our kids. And being able to get to know the Wish families and tell their incredible stories is something that I truly value. And I've been fortunate again to be able to met some incredible Wish families, and I've developed great friendships and relationships with them. I look at all of our Wish kids as my little brothers and little sisters. Fortunately, with modern medicine and a Wish as being part of that healing process, the majority of our kids do go on to overcome their illness. And so my favorite part of my job is being able to look back and speak with Wish alumni who have had their Wish granted years ago, and being able to watch them grow up and know that Make-A-Wish was part of that process. We were able to infuse a little bit of hope and happiness during a very dark time and help children get better and live, longer and full productive lives. And so to this day, I cherish every moment that I have had with this organization. It truly is incredible. I mean, it is a phenomenon to me, what Make-A-Wish is. And so just being able to celebrate that with our community and being able to share these incredible stories is something that I truly value and I'll never forget.
Well, and on top of that too, Brian, I can only imagine, for the entire family, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, cousins, you name it, when that diagnosis happens, the amount of stress that's created and trying to manage all of this and, keep your child, in the best spirits possible. I could only imagine how those wishes not only help that child, but really help that family take a bit of a breather, really get to be connected, really enjoy just their son, daughter, you name it, enjoying their moment and taking a step back to breathe.
That's true. And thank you for saying that because, critical illness does not just affect the individual diagnosed.
Hmm.
So you're right. You may have a child who's been diagnosed with, we'll say cancer in this instance, but they've been diagnosed with cancer. They're being pulled from school. They're being pulled out of soccer. They're not able to be with their team or their friends. They're spending weeks, months in a hospital room, tests and scans, pokes and prods. And you've got siblings, you've got grandparents, you've got parents that have to stop what they're doing We've got siblings who are still going to school, but you've got mom or dad who now is splitting time between home and a hospital room. And so, yes, the child who's been diagnosed, I mean, it is devastating for them, but it doesn't just impact them; it impacts the entire family. And so, what the unique thing about Make a Wish is that we understand that the critical illness does impact all those individuals. So we want to make sure those individuals are part of the healing process and part of that same hope and happiness. And so if a child wishes to go to Disney World, as an example, we're not just going to say, okay, you can take one parent with you. No, it's all of the family. It's those siblings. It's brother, it's sister, it's mom, it's dad. And we're going to make sure that those individuals that have been suffering through this dark time with them are going to be able to experience that happiness, because it truly does take a community to come together to help these children. And so we want to make sure that we're able to be there for them to support that. And what we've seen in that is that we've had a lot of families that come back from their wish experience, or they've had that wish experience, and they'll come back to us and they'll say, wow, for the first time in a long time, for the first time in forever, we were able to just focus on happiness, focus on being a family. We weren't worrying about medical bills. We weren't worrying about what we were going to do with the kids and our wish child having to go to the hospital. Instead, we were able to come together and just be a family and just have a happy time. And that's something that we'll cherish forever. And hearing those stories, I mean, it truly does make the work that we do just that much more meaningful. And it just kind of goes back to just tell us, that what we're doing is truly important.
100%. And going back, Brian, to Walk for Wishes, which was last weekend, you hit on something that I thought was so important, and that's some of the Make-A-Wish alumni families and some of the, children at the time that were, making wishes, and you guys were caring for them and making sure that they could do what they wanted to do. When they come back and are a part of something this big to this magnitude for Walk for Wishes, what are some of those conversations like that they have with, just anybody that's walking through and wants to stop and have a chat?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that hope and healing,
Yeah.
and being able to share their experience. So at the Walk for Wishes, it's incredible because we not only have our wish families in attendance to celebrate their wish, but we also have our community of supporters, whether those are sponsors, donors, our businesses that help us out, our volunteers. It's truly a celebration for everyone that's part of our Make-A-Wish family. And so being able to interact with our wish children, with our wish alumni, having our sponsors, our donors, get together and being able to share stories and hear firsthand the impact that a wish has had on our families. I mean, it truly is special. And just this past week at our Walk for Wishes, there were a couple of instances where we've had wish alumni who have had their wishes granted, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, who were in being introduced on stage, and just seeing our volunteers that were there, seeing our sponsors that were there, their faces were just lighting up, and tears of happiness were flowing because a wish child was telling the impact and how much their wish meant to them, and thanking those individuals firsthand for helping make wishes come true. I mean, it is a celebration, not only, for Make-A-Wish, but also for the philanthropic spirit of St. Louis.
100%. And that's something, Brian, you know better than anybody in your position with the support that the Metro East, the St. Louis region, gives to so many organizations. And let me ask you this. I've never asked this question to Make-A-Wish before, and I've had a few different folks on in different facets. But for Make-A-Wish, what all goes into granting that wish?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So I had said that it takes a community,
Yeah.
right, for these kiddos. And the same thing goes for Wish Experience. I mean, we rely on our medical professionals first and foremost to refer our children to help them. So, referrals come in typically from medical professionals, doctors, nurses, social workers, but also families, and in some instances, the Wish child themselves, if they're old enough. But so our medical professionals, those are the ones that are front and center, taking care of our kids and helping them from a medical standpoint, and then working with us to help determine eligibility and then referring them. And that truly is the door that opens for Make-A-Wish. And then once a child is in our care, then we have our volunteers, and our volunteer wish granters are the ones that go out and meet with the child and help determine their one true wish. And those volunteers work back with our staff members here to then develop and create what that wish experience looks like. And each wish experience is as unique as the wish child themselves. we joke and we say that, a wish experience is only limited to the child's imagination. But in reality, it's true. Every single wish, if a wish child wishes for something, maybe it's a shopping spree,
Hmm.
but we're going to make sure that it's catered to them, right? So we're going to ask them, okay, well, tell us about your shopping spree. What does your day look like? Start from the beginning.
Yep.
If the child wishes to go on a shopping spree, in a pink limousine, and they want to eat lunch at their favorite restaurant, and then they want to, go do XYZ, we're going to make sure that that happens. And it looks just like what they want it to look like.
Well,
And those wishes can't come true without our donors and supporters. So it takes our community to come together to donate the necessary funds to create that wish experience. So, we've got medical professionals, we've got our volunteers, we've got our donors, our staff, the wish families. It takes everyone to come together to create these magical experiences.
that's really fascinating because every time I do speak with a individual from Make-A-Wish, it's always an all hands on deck scenario. But to really know how many facets and how many spokes of the wheel have to really converge to make this happen is just wonderful. And, Brian, I can only imagine the creativity that some of these children have with their wishes. You were talking about if you want to go in a pink limo or you name it. But it also is it's really a great moment for that child for, the first time in a while being told, here's what you need to do with your body. Here's what we got to do with you now, for them to make that decision on their own. And I think that's what's really cool is that freedom to say, this is truly about you.
Yeah, that's one thing that we always say is that a wish experience truly can restore childhood and freedom back to that
Yeah.
child. Because you hit the nail on the head. These kids, when they're diagnosed with this critical illness, they no longer have that choice. They are being told that you're going to the hospital. In some instances, they're there for a long time. They're going to be going through tests. They may be required to go through transplants. They may be required to go through chemotherapy. Whatever the care is needed, that's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
But to be able to then have that choice and that freedom to create something in your mind, something so perfect, so magical, that's just for you, something that you can't, you couldn't necessarily do yourself, or maybe your family couldn't do. Maybe your child wishes to go to the moon, right? Or have a space exploration experience. And then Make-A-Wish is going to find a way to make that happen. We'll partner with NASA. We'll create some sort of a wish, space experience here in the United States for that kiddo.
That's
but
so cool.
Whatever the case may be, they do have that freedom. They have the ability to think that anything is possible. And let me tell you, if a child thinks that anything is possible, it's going to be possible.
100% over.
They're going to overcome their critical illness. They're going to overcome whatever odds are against them. And just having that power of positivity that they receive from their wish translates to help in their actual medical battle. So, it's crazy to think about how just a wish can be so powerful, but it truly is.
Well, and, on top of that, too, at being here for almost 10 years, Brian, does it amaze you how many, national figures, too, are a part of this, this great movement and this great organization? Because, every once in a while, people do X, Y, and Z, but to see that, from a national level all the way down, whether it's, a big superstar that someone wants to meet or whether or not it's just financial support or messaging support, the real all hands on deck is great to see at all levels, whether it starts locally and builds its way up. But does it amaze you at any point to really stop and go, oh my goodness, we literally have a complete village on our side?
It does. It truly does. And I've been fortunate in my life to have worked with different nonprofit organizations and volunteer with a few other ones before Make-A-Wish. And the incredible work that all of our nonprofit organizations do is great. However, there is something very unique about Make-A-Wish and the level of support that we do receive on a national level, or even a global level, from celebrities and from figures. It is. It just goes to speak to the power of a wish and how so many individuals can get behind that. And, I'm a huge Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson fan, right? So having Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson being one of our wish makers, as we call them, being able to be there to help grant wishes and help rally support. It is. It's heartwarming, but at the same time, you have to kind of, just stop and reflect and say, wow, It's pretty neat.
That's what I think so amazing about that, because you have local individuals that are so dedicated to this. You already went through the volunteer and the different folks that are a part of those wish processes, the events, the organization, but just to see how it works all the way up to the very top of superstardom, or you name it, is just one of the coolest things for me to see too, is everyone really diving into that mission. And now, Brian, I know I've been talking to you for over 15 minutes by now, and sorry for keeping you so long, but for folks at home, that are in the St. Louis region that, maybe don't have the money of a Trayvon of The Rock, to put, a good, a sizable $1 million, donation down. How can we help? How can the blue collar men and women of our community, of our region, come together and support the children's missions and really help them and their families in a time that's so critical?
So, to be honest with you, the majority of our donations are smaller.
I'll be darned.
Yes, it would be phenomenal if we were able to have a large scale donation come in. But the truth is that even though Make a Wish is a very large name, a very large, well known brand, we're still grassroots. We're still small. And so throughout the United States, there are 58 different chapters. Our chapter is Make-A-Wish Missouri and Kansas. So as I said earlier to start the show, we serve children throughout Missouri and Kansas. We're headquartered in St. Louis, and we are our own separate 501c3. So every Make-A-Wish chapter is their own separate charity in a sense. Okay. All the money that's raised in that chapter's territory stays in that chapter's territory. So we don't receive large funding from a national office or large funding from grants or national entities. The majority of the money that we receive comes right here from our community. And it's $25, $50, $100. I mean, those donations that come in, even though they could be small, for me, a $25 donation can go a very long way. We tend to take, that Make-A-Wish name and that brand, and we go out there and make sure that we're using our donor dollars very, very, very wisely. And so we ask for in-kind donations. We ask for partnerships. And so if for some reason someone can't give a monetary gift, that is completely fine. Maybe you can give some of your time as a volunteer. Yeah. Maybe you can give something, maybe, of talent. Maybe you or somebody who has a skill for building. You can help us build a play set. You can help us build in room redos. Maybe you can help us decorate as an interior decorator for someone who wishes to have, a man cave or a she shed. So there's so many different ways that people can connect with us outside of just a donation. And by having those in-kind supporters that are helping us with free labor or helping us with free goods or products, that's going to help us save money to be able to spend on wishes where money is required. Now, the average wish experience, it's $10,000. And some people might be shocked by that, but I'm going to explain. So wishes, they can be, again, as unique as the child. Let's say a child wishes to be a St. Louis Cardinal for the day. Well, we have a great relationship with our Cardinals partners, and that wish experience is going to be, not going to cost a lot of money. Now, if there is a wish to go to Hawaii, and it's a family of 5, mom, dad, wish child, siblings, that wish is going to cost a little bit. We're going to have to pay for airline tickets. We're going to pay for lodging. We're going to make sure that the child has everything they need on their wish experience. And so that wish may cost a little more. So wishes tend to fall in that range, but 10,000 is the average wish. How many donors would help with a $10,000 wish? Lots of donors. Yeah. $25 here, $50 there. I mean, I can tell you right now that if someone donated $100, that could help us with an individual wish, such as, to be a princess for a day. That could cost, that could take care of the princess dress. Yeah. It could help us rent and get a horse-drawn carriage to provide that child with the necessary items to become a princess. And so every little bit helps. Doesn't matter. If you can donate $5, donate $5. If you can donate 100, donate 100. But I will say this, there is a need. And that need right now is over 650 kids are waiting for their wish right here in Missouri and Kansas. We've got hundreds of kids in St. Louis alone, and we need our community to come together to help us. This year, we're hoping to grant over 430, but there's still much work to be done. If we can get that, that's great. But each year, nearly 600 kids are referred to us for wishes that are eligible, that are in our pipeline, and the work doesn't stop. And so it's our vision to grant the wish of every eligible child. And so I implore you, if you can help in any way possible, this is one mission that you will be proud to be part of.
100%. And what's the best way, Brian, for folks to pardon me, find this out online, find the link, and be able to support?
Best way is to go to our website. It's wish.org/MOCAN. That's wish.org/MOKAN for Missouri and Kansas.
Yep.
And from there, there'll be so many ways to get involved. And all we ask is that you find the one that's good for you, the right fit, and then join us as a wish maker to help us make wishes come true.
Brian, this has been a really fascinating conversation and really good to learn more behind the scenes of what really goes on inside Make-A-Wish. I'm sorry I just died on you there for a second. I started choking because of the weather change that's hitting our region with the storms. But, for you to give us your time, I know how busy you guys all are in that organization because it never stops. But if we can get a few folks to donate and support these missions, these wishes for these children that more than deserve them, that's all I could ask for.
No, and I thank you for your time and for helping us and allowing us to have the opportunity to share the powerful impact of Make-A-Wish.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick pause here on this Friday morning. It's the 19th day of April. More of our daily show comes back to you on Roku TV and RiverBender.com after this. I had to hit a fake break.